Here we are again at the St. Paul's Earth and Garden, and we are with Master Gardeners Jack and Mary Griffith. Mark's trying to smile behind the mask. Mark Knight, Carol Gross, and Helene Conklin, and I'm Jennifer Knight, and we are starting our second episode. We learned a little bit from watching our last video, and one of the things that we thought about was that you're not interacting enough with all of us. So today we're going to undertake harvesting sweet potatoes, and we have two separate beds, and we'll be interacting with everybody as we dig and find sweet potatoes. Let's go, y'all. Mark is our digger, and we have a couple of places. Be natural, everybody. Do your normal thing. Start digging sweet potatoes. We're also going to thin some crops today, and we have some seedlings that we'll work on, but Mark is going to first get us going with digging some sweet potatoes, and we did a couple of things. First, it's clear to see that we had a frost, and it's now time to take the sweet potatoes out. I've got a lot of shadowing. I'm sorry about that. And we planted sweet potatoes two ways this year. We did seed starts, which would be small potatoes, and then we did what's referred to as slips. And Mark is down there digging the bed that started with slips. Good. Okay. And the slips are rooted stems. So when the sweet potato, seed potato, grows out vines, we can put them in water and start them growing. We cut those vines and then put them in water, and they grow root systems that we then put in the ground. So we were experimenting with, was one methodology stronger than another? And I'm not sure. Hang on for a second, y'all. Just remember to where the base of the plant was. Where the base of the plant was, please leave a stem so Mark will know where to start to dig for clumps, because we don't want to pierce any of them by digging up through them. So the base of each plant needs to be cut at so we can locate where to dig. We don't have harvesting equipment, and we're going to have so few sweet potatoes that we really don't want to put a shovel through them. When you have big rows in North Carolina, we have huge farms of sweet potatoes, and when you have large rows of them, there's equipment. You can Google looking at sweet potato harvesting and see what kind of devices are used. But when you have your home garden, you really don't want to put a shovel through the plant. And so when we start to pull up on these vines, you'll be able to see where the base plant was. And it looks like we have some rooting in, which is great because that'll mean more sweet potatoes.
I see them already.
But you see them already. Yeah. So, Mark, you're okay with them just being cleared out? I was concerned about...
No, I'm all right.
All right, we are switching gears, y'all. It's okay to go ahead and pull them. Mark says he's okay, and he's going to be mindful of where they are. Clumped. Ideally, we have lots of rooting in, and at every place it hits the ground and roots, we start growing more sweet potatoes. So you can see how, hang on a second, Mark, hang on.
Sure.
That vine, at that juncture where it was in the ground, was starting to grow roots. And that would become a sweet potato if, there it is. That's one of them. Look at that. And they aren't always pretty. Oh my gosh, Mark, this is huge.
Yes.
There we go. And there's a sweet potato. And they are everywhere. We feel very confident, I guess, about them. Now, these were the ones that were done with slips, and they were the ones we thought might be the least robust.
That's what I'm thinking.
But they're pretty vigorous.
Look at that. There used to be one here.
Yep.
Look it up, just pulling this.
Yeah, so that's why you may be better cutting it as you go instead of pulling them first.
They're cutting them.
They are, okay.
Oh, they were, but now it gets to come.
Well, this is... Okay, just so you know, this is our most talented group of master gardeners. All right, I have to question social distancing here, y'all. We are setting a very poor example for social distancing. See, this was not how it should have been done. All right, let me go back and let me make a correction. Mark should have been digging them as we go, because what's happening is we're breaking the root system, and when we do that, we're actually leaving room for bacteria to grow as we dry them. So I think we probably should have just dug and pulled instead of pulling all the vines off first. But
it's recoverable because the deeper ones will be fine. But every place you broke a sweet potato off, instead of digging it out and cutting it off, we're going to have a problem now where those sweet potatoes could rot. And the little ones like that, we're going to be saving as seed potatoes for next year. So let's let Mark get over here or go over to where he is. Mark, what are you doing, hon? Yeah, I think that's a better idea.
That way I can rake it out without ripping out.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of broken plants on the surface when you do that. I think Extension would be embarrassed by us right now.
Oh, I see a sweet potato.
There are lots of them, and this was where we did the slips.
Yes.
So one of the things with the sweet potatoes, and I'm going to go back over here for a minute to show you all the crate that I brought. That green crate that's there, sweet potatoes have to cure. And you need to keep them in a warm place. They have actual rooms that they use to regulate temperature and moisture when commercially curing sweet potatoes. But it's really important to make sure that you've got good airflow through them and a warm space. So we're harvesting them probably into the buckets just to carry them out. But when we go to store them, they take a month in a warm environment, and I'm talking above 75. I think actually they would like to see it 75 to 85. That again, Google that please. Don't hold me.